Hey everybody. Today I'm going to do something of like a Q&A video. I know a lot of people will do these live, but when I look at all my like YouTube analytics, when people frequently watch my videos, it's kind of all over the place. Sometimes it's immediately in the first couple hours when I post it, which is 7 in the morning here in Colorado, and other times it's like 2 a.m. Sometimes it's around 5 in the afternoon. So I'm just going to do a regular little video, and then as we go through the video, maybe we can get a gauge from the content or the reactions from people if I ever decide to do a live video. So with me today is Apache, who is our 2-year-old male northern pine snake. He's an Ocean County, New Jersey locality that hopefully will be put to some of our other northern pine snakes, specifically Shoshone, who is our big girl. So with that being said, let's get into some of the questions that I'm asked most often, as well as a few other ones that I just kind of feel need to be answered, or a little bit of a background about me in general. And again, if I miss any of your questions, I did put a post up a few months ago to see what interest there was or what other people had asked, as well as just the questions that I get in the comments. So first things first, the biggest one that I get asked all the time is, what are my wristbands? Like you see in every single one of my videos, I'm always wearing a bunch of wristbands. And so the answer to that is, it changes a lot. Yes, silly boy. So as of right now, on this wrist, we have a timber rattlesnake that I got from the Rolling Hill Park Zoo over on the East Coast. And a little bit, and it was just like $2, and it goes to a little bit. $1 goes to the zoo, $1 goes to Timber Rattlesnake Conservation and Research. The next one is from, I cannot remember the name of this company, but someone gave me a couple of these. It's just a little inclusivity pride flag bracelet. Why are you locking me up? Actually, this works really well. I can actually show this off pretty well. This next one here, as I will turn it a little bit for you guys, it's faded. It's actually supposed to be orange for leukemia. This is actually a little bit of a memorial for my brother who passed away of leukemia a number of years ago. And then there's this little tiny little one, which is just like a cutesy little Valentine bracelet that someone gave me. It was like a whole bunch of them, but most of them just kind of broke off, and this one always ends up just getting put under one of these two, so it ends up sticking around. The next one is this kind of light blue color. It's Blue Buffalo, the dog food, Protect Our Pets. Someone gave it to me when I was there with one of my dogs, like a PetSmart, while I was picking up something for one of them, and someone saw my mask, and someone was asking about reptiles, and I was just doing my due diligence as a person in the community and answering the questions to the best of my ability. And then the last one actually is from Crazy Horse Memorial and Monument that has to do with the Native American College. And so the four colors of white, red, black, and yellow, which embody different things, is representative of that. And then on this wrist is a US Ark. So we all know US Ark. This little one is just one of those little ones that it comes from it's like the little plastic beads and stuff that's collected from trash and goes to cleaning oceans and things. And then from the same company there is this Persistence one. It's the same as the Pride one. They have a bunch of different ones. I can't remember the name of the company, unfortunately, right now. I should have done my due diligence and looked that up, but I didn't. But they have a bunch of really cool ones. I'll look it up and I'll put it in this video, and I'll just put like a little link right there that you guys can check out. This one says Persistence, but like I said, they have a whole bunch of ones like Passion, Imagination, a bunch of other really cool stuff. And then the last one is obviously repping my own stuff, Jay-Z's Reptiles, the Keep Calm, It's Just a Snake podcast for video, or podcast wristband. You are being super silly. One question that was asked when I did put into the community one was, out of all the snakes that I work with, which do I think are the best to work with? And they said boas, colubrids, or pythons. And to be honest with you, this is probably not the answer that you wanted. And I think it was like Obi-Wan Kenobi was the user that asked this. Is that it all depends on what I'm looking into, and as well as what you're looking into. So I really love boas. They were the first type of snake that really had me fall in love with them. I had ball pythons, a couple of them, but the boas are really what made me fall in love with snakes specifically and this hobby in general. However, I like the ball pythons because it's fun to play Dr. Frankenstein. Sometimes it's just fun to play with genetics. It's something that I've always been kind of curious about ever since I was a little kid. I did a genetics presentation for a science fair in kindergarten, where I talked about like the different mice, how like, you know, with albino mice, the simple recessive thing, and I did the little Punnett square, and I won first place in my science fair in kindergarten. It's just carried with me since. And so that's really fun. It's also nice to just have kind of a type of snake that'll just kind of sit and hang out, as well as fairly recently, I've really started to fall in love with North American colubrids, specifically the Pituophis and some species of rat snakes, like the fox snakes, or what I'm going to call the Northern or Great Lakes rat snakes. But like the Pituophis, like Apache here, or the bull snakes, or the Louisiana pine snakes. I love these guys. They're so curious and intelligent, and they love to move, and I love how they feel with their keeled scales, and they're all just very individualistic and individualized, and it's really fun to work with. And so honestly, for me, it kind of depends on the day, which I feel like messing with. And I mean, heck, there's even Yang, my one big reticulated python that I absolutely love to play with and work with, and just watch her look and interact and try to figure out things in her world, because she's so smart as well. So it all just kind of depends on the day, and as well as what you're looking into as far as what type of snake you want to work with, whether you want the Netflix and just kind of hang out python, like a ball python, or you want one that's a little bit larger, that you can like feel the strength and the power of this animal, or you want an animal that is a little bit more silly and moves around a whole lot more, or heck, maybe you want to know what it's kind of like to be Steve Irwin and work with the Lapids, and so you want to work with Crebos and Indigos and the King Rats and stuff like that. So the other question that I get a lot that has to do with what I usually have on is, it's actually two different ones. One is being the hat, which, okay, we'll get into the hat in a second, and then this dog collar. So this is actually a Batman dog collar. It's not a seatbelt. It's the seatbelt, like the same little clasp. But this was actually my dog Caboose's collar that I had for a very long time. He was an Anatolian Shepherd, and when he was 3 years old, he developed an autoimmune disease, and we went through a good portion of his life dealing with that with different specialists and medications and things like that. But he was an absolutely amazing dog. And then in January 6th of 2021, we finally decided that his quality of life was just too much. He had really kind of given up interest in eating. He could barely stand up anymore. And at 9 years old, we finally decided to put my best friend down. And I didn't realize at the time how much his life really impacted me. And it took me a very long time for me to get over that loss. And actually, unfortunately, so obviously, when we got home from that vet appointment, something else happened that day, which made it not a really good day. And then about a month later, we actually lost my other senior dog, who was my first dog once I moved out of my mom's house at 18. We lost her to basically to a very acute an aggressive disease as well, unfortunately. So it wasn't a very good year for me last year at all. In fact, it was like 2020, hold my beer, said 2021. And it just took me a very long time for me to get over him. And in fact, some days when I just really feel like I miss that companionship and that emotional support that he provided me, I will still put this on. But that's why you haven't seen it in very many of the videos fairly recently. And there's a little fly in the camera. Sorry about that. That's why you haven't seen this on me very much in the last few videos, or even really the last year or so, because I've been doing a little bit better. But I have this on again. Number one, because it's been a rough few weeks for me, to be completely honest with you, as well as today I'm answering questions that I'm frequently asked about. And then the other one is my hat. That several people have said that they've seen me wear the exact same hat for 2.5 years, which is fairly true. I actually have a couple different hats that look just like this. It's just a big Kangol hat. And the main reason why I wear this hat is, number one, because I look good. But number two is because I just have a really big head. My head is actually 8.5. And so if everyone went to Lids back at their hometown malls, that's the size of hat that I wear. And then the dreadlocks that I always have pulled back on a ponytail, because when they're just down, they get into everything and I look like I'm doing a Milli Vanilli cosplay. It just makes it even larger. And so this kind of really nice, expandable, flexible Kangol hat works very well on me, although I'm looking into getting a couple other new hats as well. But I do really like this style of hat, because like even the trucker hats, it ends up sitting like this on my head. It just looks really funky. What are you doing, silly? Another question that gets asked a lot of the time is these tubs, not these tubs, but these tubs right here, or get asked, where do I get those tubs and how I build those? And I actually did answer this question a little bit in a video they did where I built this rack specifically. I still haven't let it up with flex watt and thermostats and everything like that. But I built this tub, and I did kind of answer that question in that video. But to answer it, I actually get them from Target. So here in the United States, and I don't know if they're overseas or not, but I get them from Target usually around after Halloween, around Thanksgiving into Christmas season. That's when they bring out all their holiday stuff. That's where I find these tubs. I have found recently that this size tub, which is a little bit similar, but it's not quite as high, it's a little bit wider. I did find these at a Lowe's, the Lowe's home improvement store. But these were like, I think $25 or $30 each. And so I don't necessarily recommend those. And so right now, as of me recording this and this video coming out, they are available back at Target. At least these guys are. And probably some of these type of ones. These you can pick up at Walmart around this time, as well as in Target and places like that. And probably even right now you can pick these specific ones up at the Container Store with these clear lids, which are really nice. But that's where you can get these tubs right now. So right now, if watching this, you guys want to, as soon as you're done watching this, go run over to Target and go pick up a bunch of these. Their prices have gone up a little bit. For a while, they were like $15 or $18. Right now, they are $22. So they have gone up in price a little bit. So for these 10 tub racks, you're looking at $22 tubs plus all of the other stuff to go in here. If you wanted to build this out of melamine, or if you wanted to find a really nice, really heavy PVC, which would not be a bad idea for one of those. Another question that was asked on the actual little thing, I think only 2 or 3 people asked, was which snake do I have the closest bond with? And to be completely honest with you, I don't have the best answer for that. Certainly, Yang and I have gone through some things between having to leave my house, live at my mom's house, just the stress of everything going on with that whole mess has put us through a lot, and I really seem to like her and get her a lot. But, there's several other snakes. For a long time, my bull snake Moose that was given to me was really cool. We always would just have really fun. He was a really, really cool bull snake. Unfortunately, he died of several cancerous tumors last year. But I really miss him. He was a really, really cool snake that we got on with pretty well. There's Shoshone, the northern pine snake, who is just really interesting. It's a bond that I have necessarily. It's definitely like a trust and built like that. But I also get asked, like, ooh, what's your favorite snake and things like that. But I don't really have one. But some of the really fun interactions and things that have happened over the years with them, like Shoshone, who I put into a glass cage instead of a little tub. And no, she was in a 36-inch. What are you doing, silly? A 36-inch tub. Or he threw me off. I put her in a Christmas tree tub, which is more floor space and larger in dimension than a 36-inch Exoterra, which is what I got her in and what she was in for a while. And she immediately stopped eating. She stressed out. She got very reactive, very temperamental. And I moved her back into that cage, then eventually into a 4x2 PVC with glass open, and she started eating again and being back to her usual self. And it's because she wanted to see what was going on. She didn't like it was one of the more opaque ones of these guys. It wasn't the clear one. I put her in an opaque one of those, and she liked to be able to sit there and watch. And even though where she was in a pretty heavy, high traffic area of the house up in Denver, like in the living room, that was the main walkway in between the 2 different rooms and bathroom, and then like to go downstairs into the kitchen and areas like that is where she was. But she thrived in that environment because she was just always very curious and wanted to see things outside of her tub. So just like interesting stuff like that is always something that I really love with all of the different animals that I have. And it's those type of things that make me really love the individualism of all my different animals. You are being so silly. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. I've been asked if I could only work with one species of snake, what would it be? And as far as species goes, I don't know if I can necessarily be like only ball pythons or only boa imperators. I would have to say that even though I would miss the larger constrictors And some of these guys and the rat snakes, I would say that I would have to narrow myself to either working with Central and South American boas, the constrictors or the imperator's, or the Pituophis. Being in Colorado, where I can't work with all the different bull snakes that I have, basically I can be gifted them. And even then, it's kind of a weird gray area, but basically the whole is that I have a couple bull snakes that I use for educational purposes that I bring out to the shows and stuff, and they were given to me for that purpose. I didn't go out and buy them, and I didn't field collect them either. One was actually given to me by another educational facility because she got caught up in barbed wire and had a really bad belly injury. And so she was not really in good shape to be releasable. Her name is Marshmallow. She's absolutely adorable. And I love her very, very much. And so that's something that I don't really get to work with in numbers that I could here in Colorado. So that makes me probably favor the boas more than the Pituophis, even though I absolutely love these guys. Even as you can see, they're being nice and squirrely and silly. I've been asked like how long I've been doing this, and so I've talked about this a number of times, but we'll just kind of give a little bit of a brief refresher. Where I got started in this pretty late compared to a lot of people. Where I was a kid and I loved Steve Irwin and I would catch garter snakes and stuff. But I really didn't get into keeping reptiles until I was like 17, 18 years old. When I got a couple leopard geckos, and then I got a couple ball pythons, and then I moved out, and then I got the corn snake and the boas, and then more boas, and then more ball pythons, and then more boas. And so really I didn't get really into this until I was in my early 20s. A lot of people start when they're teenagers or even younger. So I'm a little pretty new to the game. And again, it was boas that made me really fall in love with these guys. And then as I started to learn, and actually as it turns out, it was really the Morelia. We're listening to Joe Phelan's podcast when he still did it, and NPR, and some of those podcasts are really what made me start to really dig a deep dive into this hobby, other than just keeping a few of these animals and then doing what probably every single person that has really gotten started in this in the last like 10, 15 years has done, which was, hey, let's breed ball pythons or some other species of snake for the morphs and for the money. That was about 45 minutes of my journey of going, that just isn't worth it to actually try to make a living doing just that. I'm going to just do this because I enjoy it, and we'll see what grows from there. Yes, you are being so silly. That's really about it. I haven't been asked too many questions. A lot of them do have to do with like this and the hat. And then a couple of like the questions that were asked about the different species of snake that I like, or my favorites, or things like that. As I grow, I've absolutely come to love doing this. Right now, it's just been a pretty hard few weeks, and I'm experiencing what is probably pretty close to burnout right now. But I'm still enjoying this. I'm still loving this. I'm still enjoying the opportunities that are continuing to grow for me, as well as the continued very slow but stable growth of the YouTube channel. So thank you all for watching this right now. I have been thinking about and several people have also come to me about like ideas that I should do either for giveaways or for merch or for rewards or stuff like that, like calendars or like high class videos or not videos of photos of some of these animals. And what do you guys think? Would you guys be interested in something like that? Where I recently started a Teespring store with a couple t-shirts and mugs and stuff of a couple of the different logos, like this one and the standard Jay-Z's Reptiles logo and the Pride. I call it the Snake in Hand one. I have to work with a different program so I can get the regular Snake in Hand one on the Teespring store. Otherwise, you're going to have to get it from me, either from reaching out and I mail it to you, or you find me at a show. But what would you think about that? Would that be something that you guys would be interested in purchasing? Either like a calendar of some of like really nice high quality photographs, or just high quality photographs in general. There is absolutely an amazing photographer that lives here in Colorado. He's been showcased by the Reptile Report a number of times. His name's Travis. Absolutely great guy. That at some point I need to like convince him to come down here, because moving a whole bunch of animals up to Denver for like a 5-6 hour photo shoot is going to be a whole process. So have to convince him to come down and spend some time at like the sand dunes and the gator farm, and then take an afternoon to photograph all these guys. But would that be something that anybody would be interested in, is like purchasing like photographs or a calendar or things like that, either on the Teespring store or from me, or via Patreon rewards? Let me know if that's something they'd be interested in. As well as I'm also kind of thinking about, for when I hit 1,000 subscribers last year, I did the full house tour. What do you think I should do for hitting 5K? I know I'm a little far away from that, but in terms of YouTube, that's, a penny in the bucket, in all honesty. So for a 5,000 subscriber, for a video or for a challenge reward, what do you think I should do? Like, I know a lot of people do giveaways. Should I do for 5,000? Should I do like a big merch giveaway where I give away like a big merch bundle, including like t-shirts and stickers and some of those high quality pictures and calendars and stuff? Or should I do like a smaller animal giveaway? I feel like for 5,000, I should wait until I hit like 10K or something for an animal. Or should I do like another big building tour? Because I did do a whole video series of essentially the move from Denver to here and the process of this building, but a lot of it has changed. I'm always expanding. I'm working on some things, and so a lot has changed up a little bit, because mostly you just get behind here, because if I'm ever in front of the cages and stuff, all you see is just the reflection. So should I do a tour for 5,000 and a giveaway, or what do you guys think I should do? Because I think it'd be really cool to be able to hit that. My goal this year was to actually hit 5,000 subscribers, but being November, clearly that didn't happen. But hopefully maybe with this push, or if you guys give me ideas and I do an announcement, maybe we can roll that out really quick for the last month or so, going into 2023, and then we can work for that 10K. And that for sure would probably be an animal giveaway of some sort. I don't know if it necessarily be like one of like the really cool like old world colubrids or stuff that we're working with, but maybe for like a fun little ball python combo or something like that. What? Silly butt? But like, just give me some ideas. Like, what would you guys like to see, or what would you think would be a cool reward, either for like, okay, do this, and then, I do like a little lottery thing of all the different subscribers that I have, or do a poll or something like that. Okay, now there's a tail going up my nose. Yeah. But let me know what I should do for the 5,000, because I think that's a pretty achievable, pretty realistic goal. As well as, again, I know I ask at the end of almost every single video, like, what are some things that you would like to see from my channel? I always try to do the deep dives, like the species spotlights. Those people really do seem to enjoy, and then I really do seem to enjoy as well. I do. But I do like to have higher quality video, as well as not only a lot of anecdotal research of like the different not wiki, but like the wiki links that you in Google Scholar and a bunch of the different articles and stuff, but actually talking to, and either myself working with the species or people that have been working with them for a long period of time. So I get both the kind of, personal aspect of keeping them, as well as the, scientific based, research based kind of blank one, where we can kind of put together this kind of cool little comprehensive 15-20 minute video of these ones. I know people like the top 5 lists, so throw out some other ideas that you guys would maybe like to see. I know someone had the really great idea of like the 5 different reptiles from the different continents, which is really fun. I'm going to try to do one that has been suggested to me for the YouTube Shorts and probably TikTok, where I was going to do a reptile from each state here in the United States, which will be really fun to do. That I'm going to have to sit there and actually make a list on and actually make the videos, because I'm really terrible at like the TikTok short form ones, but I'm going to start doing that a little bit more. Someone suggested that I should do like one of all of the different reptiles. Would you guys actually like to see that, where you get like a little like 45 minutes, a little clip of all of the different like, the 100+ ball pythons that I have, and like the 40 boas and all the other really interesting stuff? Should I talk about some of the other animals that I have here on the ranch, like the dogs and the goats and the ducks and stuff like that? Should I do a video about that? Like, what would you guys like to see, as well as, things to kind of help build the channel a little bit? What do you guys want to see me showcase or talk about? If you guys have any other questions, I would love to be able to do an actual live, like a live interactive Q&A. But again, I don't have that big of a base, and you guys do kind of watch them at different times of the day. So maybe if we can build a little bit more. As much as I love this community, it's great because I love the interactions and the comments that I get from very specific ones of you that every time I see your comments, it honestly makes my day a little bit better. It really does, especially when I see some of you guys, or even, like Austin, who I haven't seen a whole lot, but every time that I see him pop up in the comments, it's great. Real James and the Reptile Man and all you Snake Man, not Reptile Man, all of you guys. I love seeing the comments from you guys, and I love this really cool like little community that we're building. But I would love to be able to bring that out more to eventually do some other really cool stuff. So what are some things that we should do and you'd like to see from me? I know I've repeated that probably 5 times at this point, so I apologize for that. As well as I'm possibly looking at maybe a couple different artists to do some different merch stuff. I don't have a whole lot of money, but absolutely 100% compensate people for their work. But there's a couple really cool like t-shirt and print ideas that I've had, that if anybody would be interested in doing that, shoot me a PM or email me, because the email's down at this one, and all the other videos. Like, let me know if you guys would be interested in something like that. I'm looking for a couple different graphic artists, because even though I love the graphic artist who has done a lot of this work, I would love to be able to reach out and get other influences and showcase other people's talents. A couple of people have done like small little designs for me, and I need to reach out to them again and say, hey, can you make me more? Really cool stuff. So again, thank you so much. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Hopefully you got some of your questions answered, learned a little bit more about me. And if you guys have, again, for the 100th time, yeah, I know you're cutting me off. I know, I'm so sorry. If there's something that you guys like to see or hear me talk about, I will do so. For all of the monitor people out there, I haven't forgotten about you. I just don't really work with monitor species, so I'm working on the monitors and some of the other really cool, interesting species. So stay with me again. I haven't forgotten about it. I'm just trying to make sure that what I give you is really good, both in the information and the quality that I give it to you. So thank you so much. Hopefully you got your questions and stuff answered again. And hope everyone's having a great day. Please like and subscribe if you can. Hit that bell notification. All that YouTube mumbo jumbo that it helps me out so much. And hopefully we'll let us continue to grow as a community. So hope you're having a great day, and we'll check you next time.